Hey guys, Coach DJ here. Wearing my reading glasses because I have a few notes that I want to refer to in this video. And I was thinking, what should I name this video? And I could name it Do As I Say, Not As I Do, but that might not be great for business. Or I could name it Lesson Learned and leave it at that. And what I thought I would do is actually tell you the lesson up front, the lesson that I learned the hard way, in case you want to watch the rest of the video, because I am going to be kind of looking up and down so I don't miss what I have here in my notes, okay? So first of all, what I learned was about hormetic stressors. And I did do a post with an image on that recently, but I wanted to explain specifically what I did, and I thought I was doing all kinds of good for myself. But what I learned because of what I did and how I did it is that hormetic stressors absolutely require sufficient recovery time in order for the body to adapt so that the body can get stronger and more resilient. And so I was doing all the things, okay? I was doing all the things that my cancer therapy requires and that personally I just do to keep myself, strong and resilient. Okay, things I've been doing for years. But the mistake that I made is I did them in a consolidated amount of time, and I didn't allow adequate recovery time. And absolutely one of the factors that came into play here is my age. And the older we get, it does require our bodies a little bit more recovery time. Just a fact of life. So I didn't allow for that. So let me tell you some of the things that, what a hormetic stressor is. And I'm just going to read the definition so I don't mess it up. We're referring to something called hormesis, and it's the concept that a short-term controlled stress can make your body stronger and more resilient. The stress itself is temporary, and during recovery, your body adapts, repairs, and becomes better equipped to handle future challenges. So things like fasting, strength training, infrared sauna therapy, so heat, cold plunges, which I don't do. I probably should, but I just can't yet. I just haven't been able to do that. And sprinting, anything that is super high intensity, even some foods, particularly plants that have a lot of phytochemicals. Now, on their own, all of these are good. None of them are inherently bad. But when you start stacking them without sufficient recovery time, then you can crash. And that's what happened to me. So what I did was, and this was a couple weeks ago now, and I've totally changed my lifestyle, just so you know, old dog, new tricks, is I had just come off of a fast, first of all, a stressor in itself. That day, I also, so I aim for 10,000 steps a day, and I try to get at least half of them outside with my weighted vest so that I'm also absorbing some sun, getting some vitamin D. So I did that in the morning. And then my day got busy. And so later in the day, I wanted to, it was too hot. So I got on my rebounder with 2 hand weights. And I basically just did stepping in place and high knees. But but using the weights, I was working my upper body. So I did this until about 6:30 in the evening. That's about the time frame that the rebounder work happened. And then I did some strength training with my dumbbells, my weighted bar, did some deadlifts, and some squats with my kettlebells. And that took me up until about 7:00 p.m. Already you're probably thinking, well, that wasn't very smart, Coach DJ. It's too close to normal people's bedtime. Except back then, a couple weeks ago, I was stuck in a rut of going to bed too late. So my energy was peaking at that time. So I just kept going. So then I hop in the car and I go to the place where I do an infrared sauna. It's part of the cancer therapy. I go a couple times a week, and it is I'm in the room for 40 minutes at 150 degrees, and you can imagine I just sweat my brains out. I hydrate the whole time with electrolyte so that I don't wreck myself just from that. So I get home approximately 8:00 p.m. that night. Normally, I would have taken care of a few things around the house, maybe done a little work, and then take a bath before I go to bed, because I really like to take a bath before I go to bed. But that night, I felt horrible, super weak, lightheaded. I can't really say I felt nauseous, but my whole body, I just felt terrible. And I was in bed by like 9:00, that's just unheard of for me. I fell sound asleep until about 1:15. I woke up and I was totally wired. I mean, like, totally wide awake, totally wired. I knew I was having a significant cortisol spike. I was up for 3 hours, and I knew this was not a good thing. And it started me doing a lot more research on this whole Hermetic stressor thing, hormesis in general, recovery, and it was, I guess, the straw that broke the camel's back to cause me to force myself into a better sleep cycle and force myself to adapt to a better, healthier circadian rhythm. I've lived for years believing that I was what they call a wolf chronotype, which I've also posted about the chronotypes before. They're also known as night owls. And I think the only reason that was happening for me is it had been so many years that I had been doing that. I kept telling myself, well, my energy peaks, late in the day and into the evening. And that's when I feel more creative. And that's when I want to work out. It was a bad cycle for me. So, as I always say, I'm not a doctor. You have to adapt to what your body is telling you and talk to your doctor. But since this whole experience, I've been in bed between 10 and 10:15. I set my alarm for 8 hours. I don't always sleep a full 8 hours, but that's the goal. I get up, I get some sun, and I am completing my workouts at the very most, or maybe the very least, I'm completing my workouts and any other hormetic stressor like my infrared sauna, giving myself at least 5 hours before bedtime. So I try to complete everything by 5 p.m. so that I've had plenty of recovery time, so that by 10, that's all behind me and I can have a good night's sleep and not wake up in the middle of the night wired from cortisol. So I know this is another long video. I know we all want to do the good things that we're told to do for our health, but please be mindful. Please be intentional about not just what you're doing, but when you're doing it, and be very intentional about not stacking them all together. Hey, maybe our 20, 25-year-old selves could have done that, but at 71, I can't do that anymore. So just wanted to jump on and share that lesson with you, and I hope it was helpful. Okay, God bless y'all. Bye.